My name is Laura Quiroz. I have a master's in library science. And today we're going to be creating with Flippity. So that's kind of like everybody gets geared to, oh, it's Flip or Flipgrid. And it's like, no, this is something totally different. I do work at PSG Southwest High School. I'm the librarian. And don't forget, during the presentation or after, to hashtag PSJ we create, so that way you are enrolled in some of the raffles that we're having on social media, because they're going to be looking everywhere and they have like tons of prizes. Okay, again, my name is Laura Quiroz. I'm the librarian at Southwest, and this is my 23rd year at PSJISD. I did 20 years in the elementary. I taught 6 years. I did 14 years in the elementary library. And then I've done 2 years in the high school, and this is my 3rd year. And the sustainability goal that we are targeting is quality education. So that's something that we need to look into, all the sustainability goals for this year. Okay, so first off, are you familiar with Flippity? So I'm going to go ahead and put a link. Just bear with me because I am going from one computer to the other. And I'm going to put it in the chat. So you can let me know if you are familiar with it or not. Well, this is good. Let me refresh it again to see if we have more. Okay, so we have a lot of no's, so this is good. Okay, so we're going to continue. Okay, so today we're going to be going over what is Flippity, how can you use the Flippity education resource templates, how can you connect Flippity to the curriculum, which that's why I really got driven to this, because there's so many options for you, so many templates, and you know what you teach and you know how to incorporate it. I'm just giving you a tool that you can use in your lesson plans, in your teaching, and also for your students to use as well, because you can use it and create, but you can also have your students create as well, just depending on your grade level. For the little ones, of course, the primary grades, you'd be more or less creating it, but then the older they get, you can have them also create on their own. I'm also going to give you time to create a Flippity as well. And then throughout, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat and I'll just go back and forth. Okay, so what is Flippity? So it's an online site, and I came across this last year, and I used it with my students in the library. And I wanted to do a fun interactive game, and we have the virtual EDUs and everything already created, but I was able to create my own. So these are free resources for educators that allow you to create quizzes, flashcards, games. There are so many templates that we're going to look at. And your students can use it as well to create interactive study guides, reviews, and it connects to Google. So it's really awesome. So now we're just going to take a look at the site and all the resources that are available to you so you can get familiar with it. So this is flippity.net. Now, at the top, every time you go into anything, you're going to see something at the top. It's just an ad. I was showing to my friend and she goes, you need to log in. And I was like, no, you don't. You don't have to log in. It's just, you're going to get something that says, oh, download this. Just ignore whatever you see at the top. So here in Flippity, you can create flashcards. There's flex cards, quizzes, randomizers, board games, manipulatives, matching games, virtual breakout EDU, bingos. There's timelines, badges. There's so much. Word searches, word scrambles, and all this that I'm showing you, you can connect it with your curriculum. There's word clouds, Mad Libs. I mean, someone created all this for educators, which I think is really awesome. And it's in Google spreadsheets. I am not really good at Google spreadsheets or Excel. And somebody already did the equations, the algorithms for us in order to do this. Let me go back to the chat. Okay, so if you have any questions throughout, just go ahead and put it in the chat. So how can these resources be used to connect to your grade level content area? So I created a Padlet and I just kind of briefly, we're going to go back. I just wanted to briefly show you what flippity.net was. And so you can kind of see what are the resources there. But on your end, how do you think you could use some of these, like the word scrambler or the flashcards? Like, how can you incorporate that into your lessons? I'm going to put in the link for the Padlet. Give me a second. Let me know if you can see it. And I'll go to the live one so you can see what everybody's putting. And I love this because it's like a collaboration. So we all kind of put our ideas in to see how can we use these resources on Flippity in order to incorporate them into our lesson, whether it's the beginning of the lesson, during the lesson, independent work, how can you use it? So I don't know if you're able to see, and then right here on the plus, you're able to add your response. Can you see it, Mari?
Yeah, I see it.
I don't know why earlier in somebody else's presentation, it said they had to accept. Like I see everybody's little bubbles and I don't think I have it set like that. Maybe I do.
No, this time it took a while, but I was able to get in.
Okay, but I don't see anything popping up that shows, like it should show me everybody's responses, and I don't see that on my end.
I'm typing in. Let's see if you can see it.
Okay, is it asking for an approval? Because on my end, it's not asking me to approve anything. Let me refresh it.
No, I'm actually just typing in. It should be able to because I clicked on the plus like you said.
Oh, okay, I see it.
And then now I'm just going to publish.
Okay. Okay. So we have a lot of lower levels, and this can be used in any level, secondary and primary. You can use Flippity. It's just what you're plugging into each one. So This is good. I like this. You can also use it for a quiz. You can use it for formal assessment. You can use it for collaborative work, independent work. Maybe you have iPads and the kids, you already have the link ready and you're working with whole group. You can have that set up and the students can be working on their own. Okay, a lot said to do letter sounds for homework. That's awesome. To create alphabet cards, letter sound recognition, words. You can use it for the word recognition, vocabulary. And I like that. So it's all about creating and it's supposed to be fun. So you're going from the paper pencil to something that's fun and interactive for your students. And our high school students, they love fun, they love interactive, they love games, just like the little ones do. It's not the older you get, then it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. No, they do. Like they were literally running around the library trying to complete the virtual breakout just to receive something from me. And it could be a pencil, a bookmark, a candy, like they were excited. Okay, we're gonna move on. So that's a few. If you want to continue adding, you can. So the Flippity resources that I previously showed you on flippity.net, they can be used for connecting it to any content area. Like I said, it's just what you are plugging in to that specific activity. What skills are you teaching for that week, for that 6 weeks? And that's what you're going to plug in for your students. You can use it for your direct instruction, for a review. Maybe you want the kids to work on study notes. You've given each of them an assignment. You can do an informal assessment for collaborative work. SIF is something very big this year. So that one where it's a writing component, where it's a Q&A, the kids are asking questions or creating questions, and then they're collaborating and answering them, where you're giving them classroom talk. You can create an exit ticket, an interactive game, an icebreaker. Maybe it's the focus of your lesson. You created one and it's the focus before you even start. You can also use it for ESL intervention, your special POPs. You can use it for independent centers, intervention, or reinforcement of a content area, and you can continue on and on and on. There's so many endless possibilities. So we're going to go into some of the educator resource templates because there's so many. I can't go into every single one of them, but I just kind of want to show you how to use it. So this one's board game. So every time you go into a different Flippity, it's going to give you a demo, and we'll go into the demo, and then it's going to give you instructions. So you can create a fun interactive game with any lesson. So this is what the board game template looks like. And I'm going to go into that link. Okay, so right now I'm in the demo. So I want to show you the demo before we go into our own board game. Now it gives you the pieces, it gives you the cards, it gives you the dice, where you can roll the dice. You can move these around so the students can choose what marker they want when they start. You have your beginning, you have your end. This one is clicked for instructions. So on your game board, if you want to give them an instruction, that's where you'd place it. And I know it looks like really confusing right now, but it'll make sense once I get in there. So I'm going to show you the possibilities of what you can do when you're in the slide deck. So these are just examples. So you can use a link on the cards. So right here's where you would put your question. You can add a link, and then you can say, okay, this is how many spaces you're moving. Then you can click the card again. You can do one where it's the question and you provide the answer. So they would just click it, and then it gives them the answer, and they just have to scroll down. You can also add an image, so you can put a web image here as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like if you had math problems, you could have them work those out and then move on the spaces. Or if they are reading sight words, they can continue moving forward. So it's just, I want your imagination, your brain to just re-rolling with ideas of how can you use this board game to incorporate it, make it fun in your instruction. Like I want your educational journey this year to, you know, flow a little easier. I know you guys get bombarded with so much, but this is just also the kids get bombarded and they want something fun to do. Okay, you can also embed a Desmos. You can put an equation, and then it allows you to move. And then I like that you can also add YouTube videos. We haven't gotten to that one, but you can add a video. There we go. Okay, so does anybody have questions right now about, this is just the demo? Any questions? No. Okay, and there's no right or wrong question to ask. So then now at the top, I'm gonna go ahead and go to make your own board game. So again, remember, just don't log into anything at the top. It's just an ad. But here, when you're gonna start, you're gonna make a copy of this template. So that's gonna go to your Google Drive. So you'll always have it there. I would read through the instructions before you get started. So I'll go through everything, but you can change the card decks. There's different cells that are already ready and pre-done, so I wouldn't make too many changes to it. I learned the hard way and I just like deleted everything on one of the columns, and then I didn't know how to put in images. But it does explain it to you. There's a frequently asked questions, and it'll tell you what to do in case you're stuck. How do I use images in other multimedia? And that's when I was like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. But you go to make a copy of this template. And then, yes, you want to make a copy. So this is what you're going to see. I don't know, Mari, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I just want to make sure, because on my end, I can only see the presentation. I can't see you guys. I can see the chat. So if you're raising your hand, I can't see any of that. But this is the board game. So at the bottom, it has the different tabs. So this is your board game. And as you saw previously, it just has it where that square was red, this one's orange. On the instructions, on that first one, it said move forward 6 spaces. So this is where you would put your instructions for your students if you wanted to place one there. You don't necessarily have to. You can leave it blank. And then here is the card deck. So that stack that we were going through, where you can add images, you can add a link, you can add a picture of a problem that you want your students to solve. If you want it to be a video, YouTube video, that is where you would plug it in. So each one gives you an example of how to do that. So it's already set for you. So I'm going to click on this first one. And it says you can use links on cards. So there you could put your question. So you could type up your question, and within the brackets, that's where you would put your link right here. Then it ends bracket, and then you would put move 2 spaces or move 5 spaces if they got it correct. and they could be working at a table in teams, or you could do it whole group as a class. So that one is showing you how to embed a link. This one is showing you how to embed a card, a web image, I'm sorry. So you're just going to keep the template as is. So remember, so let's just say I'm going to put this on number 9. I'm going to paste it there because I'm going to edit it. So you could just ask a question here. Oops, I hit the caps locks. I don't know, what is the color? Like if it's for the little ones, what is the color of the sky? And then here you would add your image, your answer, and then you would put how many spaces you would move. So whenever you're going to do a image, you have to make sure it's a JPEG, it's a GIF, like it ends with that format. And it has to be a URL. Like it won't work if it's not a URL. It's just going to show your URLs on there. It won't upload the actual image of what you posted. So the YouTube, all you would do is copy the link and paste it there. Same thing with the equation. You would put your problem there. So all you're changing is this, and then you're plugging it in. I don't know if that makes sense. And you can do deck 1 or you can do deck 2. So if you want to add 2 decks where they're choosing from 2 different decks, that's what you would do. So here you can ask your question, and then over here answer. So if it's all math problems, you could be asking your, if they're working on addition or subtraction or fractions, then over here you would put your answers. And so when they click, it would say what the answer was and then how many spaces, so they can check for understanding if they did it correctly or not. On here, this is the materials. So here we have the tokens. I would leave it as is, but you can change it. So if you don't want those little tokens, if you want to put some other images, you can do that. So you would just change them here. And then your dice as well. There, it just had 1 dice, but you could do multiple if you want. And you would change that here. I kind of like to just keep it as is. And then here, so once you're done plugging everything in, you have to remember to publish. So here you'd go to File, Share, and then Publish to the web. So you would click there, and you would just hit Publish. Okay. Okay, and then there's your link. You can also just grab your link from here. So then you would copy it, and this is what you would give the students. So that takes you to what you created. And right now it's just the demo that I have. So it would take you back to the demo. But on yours, it would be something that you created. Are there any questions? So that one was just the board game. Here we have flashcards. So again, it's demo and instructions, and you're just following the instructions. Flashcards can be easily created for any grade level as well. You can have your upper grades create review cards. They can do collaborative work. That one lends itself to, like, let's have the kids do it. Let's have the students work in groups, and then they're talking and asking questions and collaborating. And then in the end, everybody has a link, and you can all share those links so everybody can work and review each other's. So here is the flashcard template. So this is where you would add your questions and answers based on the lesson you provide. with the students, and it could be a collaborative activity. So I'm going to go into this one. So here's flippity.net. We have the demo and then the instructions. So this is the demo. I like that it's just not flashcards. So this is what they've created. So you can kind of get an idea, oh, this is how you can use it. They ask the question, the students click on it, and then it gives them the answer. So this is on flashcard mode. So here's another one. You can also embed YouTube videos here. You can embed images here. You can embed math problems. I did one on science as well. So it has a picture. You can go into list mode, so that just lists everything. So you have side 1 and side 2, and it just shows you everything that you did. And then there's a matching. I thought this was pretty cool too. So the students have options of what they can do. They can go from flashcard to list to matching. It times them, so they could try to beat their time. So if you have the little ones, they can try to match the word to the picture, or they can do the if they're doing lowercase and capital, they can do that. If you have vocabulary words, so it's just all about matching. And then what they would do is they would just click on it. I'm just going to pick 2. And if it doesn't disappear, you're wrong. So I can do this one and this one. And then so I got it right. That one is matching. You can do practice. This one is just going to give you the question and then you have to type it in. And then it'll tell you how many you got right and how many you got wrong. And then there's more. So that goes into all the other activities. So now we're going to go into the instructions. So again, you would make a copy of the template. So every template that you want, you're going to make a copy so that way you can edit it. So here it said the capital of Malaysia. And then here is where you would provide your answer. You can always change the color. If you want to change the color to the card, the text card, that's where you'd place it. So here we could put what is the capital of Texas? And then over here, you would just change it. And you can change the color. If you don't want the color to be blue, you can change it to whatever color you want. And that's how you would be going about it. So if it's little ones and they're not reading it, you can do images. So this is where you could search for an image, maybe a blue circle. And the students can, you'd place your link, your URL here with that image. So we could go to the circle. Okay, remember it has to be a GIF. So we can take this. Let me see if this one works. and then paste it. If it doesn't end, it says PNG, so that might be good. If it doesn't end, and then here I can put blue. So if we're trying to do the color, or if we're trying to do circle, we could do circle too. It just depends on what you're wanting to teach, the shapes or teaching color. So once you do that, you would make changes to every single one of them. And if you want just 10, you can stop at 10. You don't need to have all the way to 24. It's up to you. You can put vocabulary words. Maybe on this side, you have the vocabulary word, and the other side, you have the definition. So it's basically up to you and what you're teaching. But once you do that, you would go to publish. So you can also do images. You can do the YouTube videos the same as the other ones. So then here, what I would do is I would go to File, and then I would go to Publish. And then I would go get the link, copy it. And there it is. So it's already changed it. So it says, what is the capital of Texas? And then when they click on it, it's going to say it. And then the second one, see, so this, I didn't do it right. So it has to end in a PNG or a JPEG in order for it to show up. So you can always go back to your flashcard and then edit it. So I would have to edit it. But for time purposes, it's just to show. But here, see how this one ends in a JPEG? That's what you need. And then it will show up with image. Are there any questions right now? It's so quiet.
We're here listening to you, Laura. Keep going.
Okay. I'm like, I don't see anything on the chat. I'm like, it's just because I feel like I'm talking to myself because I literally can't see
They're writing
anybody.
down notes, Laura. They're writing down notes.
We're
Okay.
following along.
It's a lot. Like Flippity is a lot, but it's there. This is the
we
one
have
I
a
use with.
question.
Oh, okay.
Miss Michelle Pena, she's asking if you can attach the templates into a Google slide, right? Oh, you can't attach the
Because it's a
templates.
link. It's a link.
So you could put a link in a slide.
Yes.
Yeah, you
like
could.
Of the actual activity that you've created, yes. Like it's, but just the link, yes. Because it's Google Sheets. So they've already created the template, the algorithm for you. They're geniuses because I don't know how to do that. And then you're just plugging it in. You're plugging your curriculum and what you want to teach the kids and make it fun and active for them. Thank you for your question. Okay, so here's the virtual breakout. This is what got me started. I don't know how I came across it, but this is where you can get your students activated by talking. I know that's what they want to see. They don't want quiet in the room. They want your students collaborating, interacting, using this technology. They want to see them moving around, not the whole class period, but I mean, if they're sitting there for a 45-minute block or an hour block, at some point you should have like a fun activity for them to move around and get up. So this would be a great SIF activity for them to do. So again, there's a demo and instruction. That's what I like. Once I'm not here, you can go and follow the instructions. And it's trial and error. That's what I'm doing. I'm going back and forth and figuring it out. So this is the one I did. This is the Breakout EDU. It was during library week. And I wanted the kids to do something fun during their lunchtime. They only have like a limited amount of time. And I had prizes for them. But basically what you're going to do is just create your questions and answers just like a virtual EDU that you would do. And again, connecting it to what you're teaching. And it doesn't just necessarily have to, if you want to do a fun activity too, you can do that too, or getting to know you or whatever, you can also do that as well. And you can have your students create their own, have them work in groups. And then they can share it amongst each other. But let me go ahead and go to it. Okay, so it took me directly to the questions. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So that took you directly, but this is where I created it. So if you can see, here is the clue. I just asked questions. I wanted the kids to learn their library and the resources available. And I was like, I wonder if they even know who I am. Like, do they even know my name? And we're in high school and they probably don't know. But it was really cute because they started pairing up. They had their cell phones and they started moving around the library. But just anything, like I asked how many desktop computers do we have? I could have said how many labs are in the library. Whatever you put as an answer, they have to put it exactly like that. If you want, you can add a hint. So I don't know if you see this area, but I deleted what it had. So I'll go back and I'll show you the template. But that's when I was like, oh, I got stuck and I was like, how did they get the pictures and how did they get the images? So don't necessarily delete the template that they gave you, the example, because that's what you need in order to put your own. But here, can you borrow games from the library during lunch? I just wanted them to get familiar with what they could do and what the process was. So I just did 11. You can continue on and do more if you'd like. It gives you space for that. You can add a hint. The hint could be an image or you can put text there. And then let me see. Let me close this one so I can go back. I have too many things open. There it is. Okay. So here is where the kids can, this is the one I created. I provided them the link. And what I did was I took the link and I turned it into a QR code. So then I had QR codes displayed around the library or as they came in. And I told them, hey, there's a really cool game. You guys can participate during lunch. And then I have all these prizes and you can come choose one. And so that got them like going. But you click on the lock. This one doesn't have a hint, but if it did, and it would have like a little light bulb here, and you could click the light bulb and it would tell you the hint that you're providing. So I would put 27, and then you click the lock, and it's done. So I thought this was really neat. I was like, wow, I created a virtual Breakout EDU, and I'd never done that before. And then you'd go to the next lock. They can go randomly out of order. So you can now find Mayan in your Renaissance AR. Is that true or false? So they had to do that. And then some were like, what's mine? It gets the conversation rolling. And that's what they want to see. They want to see the kids talking and trying to figure it out. So I don't know, can you see yourself working with this and applying what you're teaching and creating a game? I'm checking the chat to see if anybody's responding. And then just think of the ways like, how can I use the curriculum or what I'm teaching the kids and plug it in here so they can do this. We can do one more. I thought this one was like, they really tried. I was like, what is the name of the librarian? And they have to put it in the way you put it in. So I had to put a hint. Are you sure you want to show the hint? And I was like, yes. Okay, hint, last name. So I was telling the kids it was just my last name. It wasn't my first and my last because they were all talking and trying to put in my whole name. If you do that, it's not going to open. And then they were trying to be proper. It's not going to open. So I was just like, no, just my last name. And then they got it. So just so you know, that's something else. But I thought this was really neat because you can use it in so many ways. Yes, with the little ones, it could be done with the training. So Mari said it helps us change up our lesson in a different way. It's just fun and active, getting the kids engaged. Okay, so we're going to move on to the matching game. So this is another one. And you would think matching, like, that's so childish. No, for the little ones, it's good for memorization. How about the older ones, having them to create something where they're doing like a matching picture to the answer, you know, with mathematics or science, like with the vocabulary words. So that is something where they can use this matching game. And it also has audio. So that's something else. Like when you're embedding the videos, it's going to have audio for the students. So also your like ESL students, maybe they're having trouble with the language, it's going to repeat it. Or if you have it as a homework assignment and the parents are trying to help their child, there again, they can hear, the parents can hear the sound and how it's pronounced. So here's the example of what it's going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and go to it. So you can create content using images and words. Basically, as long as you have that URL and you're uploading it, it will allow you to put the images, the links, the videos, the YouTube. Okay, again. Okay, so here, ignore that again. I know I'm going to keep telling you that, but it says sign up. And then my friend said, it says sign up. And I said, no, don't sign up. That's an ad. She's like, no, you have to sign into Flippity. And I'm like, you don't need to sign into Flippity. It's okay. But you could easily put your vocabulary words here. And for the little ones, like if you're introducing like 5 new sight words or 5 colors or 5 numbers for your high school students, if you're doing also vocabulary words, you can just plug them in here. And it says memory or matching, so you can choose which one you want. And then you would generate it. So that's just the demo. But here's where you would make the copy of this template. And it gives you instructions before you go in. If you are having trouble, it tells you. And then again here, it must, if you're going to do an image, it must end in a GIF, PNG, JPEG, JPG, or a WebP. Or else it's not going to show up. But it tells you how to do it. Also for the audio recordings, it tells you right here, and you can use vocaroo.com, and it explains it like step by step. Okay, so now I want to go back. Well, we can generate this one. Go back to the other one. To matching demo. There, that's the correct demo. So when you're clicking on it, like this is just a sample. So you should, I don't know if you heard it, but it said blue. So right away, and it's in red, so they didn't get it right. So they'll have to be clicking till they're like, find two that connect. And it's every time you think, oh, you've done it so many times, like you should know where two are matching. No, I think it moves because every time I click on this, it's changed. Okay, I don't remember where blue was. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I got it right. So then when you move on, those two disappear and then they would continue. So I think this is really neat. And you can, of course, gear it to the little ones, to secondary, middle school, high school, and you're just plugging in your own information and they can hear it. So I thought that was really neat. Yes. Yes, Daisy, you can use it to match their names with their pictures in pre-K. So for every, like, so let's say if you had like a math 4+4, and then on another one you would have the actual answer 8. So they would be doing like their mathematics, or if you had like a symbol and then you had the word, they could do that too. So as the students are getting older, depending on the grade level, that's where you would make the modifications and the changes. Okay, so some key points to go over. Just make sure that you're making a copy of the template. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And so you can see here in my Google Drive that I have that Flippity that I did for the library. You can make a folder if you'd like. So you can have all your Flippity assignments there all together, all in one. So you're not like searching through your Google Drive, but remember, it's all Google related. So you would have your little drive and then you would put that in there. So you could have like everything like sectioned out with language arts. You can have your science. If you're doing history, you could have everything separated. Don't forget to publish to the web. So you have to publish it before you get your link. And then if you make any changes, so like when I made that mistake and the link didn't work with it didn't have the proper ending on the URL. So when I go back and I do the correct one, it may take a few minutes to appear on the actual link. So don't think, oh, it didn't work. No, it just takes a few minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes sometimes. So you just need to remember that as well. And then if in doubt, just go to the frequently asked questions as well. There's an explanation there for you. And then we're already coming close to the end. This is session 3, so I know Sanaida is probably going to put the survey there. Remember to stay connected for door prizes as well. The remote check-in was Tech 23. So if you haven't done that, you can put the Tech 23, so that way you can get credit for the afternoon. And there's tons of door prizes. I will share the presentation, but if you go at on the main one and you click on door prizes, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. This is where they're going to list all the winners. It's taking a while. Let's see what it shows. Thank you, Sanaida. Oh, 155 prizes. Wow. I hope I get a prize. Oh, so now that didn't work. What happened? I don't know. I did the link for the door prizes, but it didn't work. But it is there. And I know it's after lunch and you guys are probably tired and you're home and cozy in your beds, but I hope I did justice. It's a lot of information. It works. Well, I'm gonna have to like check the link because I put it and it didn't work for me. But I know it does work on the main site. I have it here. Let me go to home. And where is it? Here it is. Under sponsors, there's door prizes. So if you didn't, I didn't find it the other way, but you can place it and it's right here. Okay. Just again, if you want to share something you learned on social media, just remember to use the hashtag PSJ we create. They are looking. That's my email, laura.quiroz@psjisd. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. I just want to make it easier for you and that you have resources for your students.